Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful prelude to our Thanksgiving service. It's wonderful to be with all of you here today, those of us who are in person and those of us who are following virtually on the live stream. My name is Cantor Jonathan Commissar, and I'm the spiritual leader of Congregation Beth Torah, and this is our current worship space that we turn into our sanctuary for our Sabbath services and for the High Holy Days. It is such an honor to welcome all of you here to celebrate this tradition that we've had in the Florham Park area for, I asked our music director, Randy, how many years have we been doing this? And Randy's been with his church for 25 years. Can anyone be a historian and tell me how long have we been doing this Interfaith Thanksgiving service?
I'd go with 25.
25, okay, a quarter of a century and probably more. So I want to acknowledge my distinguished colleagues and clergy partners here on our, what we call our bima, or altar in the language of the church. Father Thomas Reichel from Holy Family Catholic Church in Florham Park, Reverend Ron de Groot from Calvary Presbyterian Church in Florham Park. Regrettably, Reverend Bo Nelson was going to be with us tonight. He represents two churches, Good Shepherd Lutheran in Florham Park and St. Mark Lutheran in Morristown. Unfortunately, he and his family have come down with colds, and for everyone's sake, they are not going to be with us tonight. So Bo, if you're listening, we miss you, and next year we will welcome you at our gathering. So I want to acknowledge, as I said, our director, Randy Herzog from Holy Family Church. Randy, you always do a stellar job in bringing together quickly our musical programs for these Thanksgiving gatherings. All of our choir members from all the different houses of worship, thank you for lending your beautiful voices as we celebrate and give thanks at this season. Thank you so much. We're going to continue in our Thanksgiving booklet program. I want to acknowledge Jeannie Weiss. She's very humble, but she tirelessly works at so many things in our synagogue on publicity and beautiful programming throughout the year. And Jeannie, thank you for everything you did to make this special, to have this program for us tonight. For the first reading, Reverend Ron is going to take Thomas's place. We're at Psalm 100 on the first page. And if you could respond in the congregational part.
As the Psalms were brought into worship and led, there is usually a response, one side and the other sometimes, and Psalm 100 is no exception, and I invite you to join me as we bring ourselves before God with gratitude and with thanksgiving. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth.
Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into God's presence with singing.
Know that the Lord is God.
It is He that made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of the pasture.
Enter his gates with thanksgiving and God's courts with praise.
Give thanks to God and bless God's name.
For God is good, his steadfast love endures forever.
And God's faithfulness to all generations.
And we're going to turn to our hymn, which is going to be sung tonight in 3 languages. We have done this before at our Thanksgiving services to reflect the different languages and traditions of. So we're going to text in the Catholic tradition, Dona nobis pacem, grant us peace. And we're going to, there's a prayer for peace in every tradition. Every religion on earth prays for peace as part of its liturgy. So we'll begin with Latin and then in Hebrew, and we've included the music sheet in your programs, and then finally in English. Latin, Hebrew, and English. And we're going to all join the voices together in beautiful counterpoint. Please rise. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Pacem. Dona nobis. And now in Hebrew, Ose shalom bimroma, Yaseh shalom, Ose shalom, shalom bimroma, Ose shalom, Ose shalom bimroma. And now in English, seeking peace, peace be upon us. Peace be upon us, seeking peace. Peace be upon us, seeking peace. And now choose any language that you wish. Peace, peace, shalom. singing songs of peace, and then taking the action to bring about peace in the world. A vision to hold on to. Amen. Please be seated.
I invite you to join me in this evening's litany of thanksgiving. All good gifts around us are sent from heaven above.
So we lift our hearts up to you, God, in praise and thanksgiving.
As we count our blessings, we thank you for plentiful harvests and acknowledge your goodness.
Our hearts go out to those who do not have, those who are hungry and in need.
We thank you for jobs that provide for our families and supply the needs of our society.
And pray that you will give strength and courage to those who have no work.
We thank you for opportunities and choices, for meaning and challenges.
And pray that you will give a sense of purpose to those who feel trapped.
We thank you for family and friends who love us and care for us.
And pray that you will befriend those who are alone.
May we live in a spirit of gratitude to you and generosity to our neighbors.
O God, in this season and all year long, give us the gift of a thankful heart.
We give thanks for the spirit of fellowship and friendship between different communities of faith in our own town.
And bless one another in the spirit of friendship, faith, and hope. Amen.
We continue our prayer with the Psalm 113. Praise, O servants of the Lord, praise the name of the Lord. Let the name of the Lord be praised both now and forever.
Blessed
Be the name of the Lord forever.
From the rising of the sun to the place where it sets, the name of the Lord is to be praised.
Blessed be the name of the Lord forever.
The Lord is exalted over all nations, God's glory above the heavens.
Blessed be the name of the Lord forever.
Who is like the Lord our God, the one who sits enthroned on high, who stoops down to look on the heavens and on earth?
Blessed
be the name of the Lord forever.
God rises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. God sets them with princes, with the princes of their people.
Blessed be the name of the Lord forever.
And I'm going to read the lyrics of a song, Grateful, by John Bucchino, from the musical theater world. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I cannot stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay in the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am, truly blessed and duly grateful. So as the host of this wonderful Thanksgiving gathering, it's the honor and responsibility of the host clergy member to deliver some words of homily, of reflection. And so I offer a few words to all of you tonight. Again, good evening and welcome to our spiritual leaders and congregants from our houses of worship in the Florham Park community and a bit beyond. On this American Festival of Thanksgiving, in this very troubled world we find ourselves in, I thought it would be a good idea to begin with something a little humorous and lighthearted. Out of the mouth of babes, they say. These are some humorous and enduring mini letters that children, third graders, wrote to God. Dear God, thank you for the baby brother, but what I prayed for was actually a puppy. Samantha. Dear God, did you mean for the giraffe to look like that, or was it an accident? Signed, David. Dear God, maybe Cain and Abel would not kill each other so much if they had their own rooms. It works with my brother. Signed, Sam. Dear God, please put a holiday between Christmas and Easter. There's nothing good in there right now. Sophie. In Sunday school, the teacher says, who can tell me what happened to Lot's wife? One child raises their hand. I heard that Lot's wife was a pillar of salt by day, but a ball of fire by night. Who can tell me who Solomon was? Solomon, I believe one of David's sons, didn't he have 300 wives and 700 porcupines? Concubines, but... There's another sweet story of a girl who is sitting in an art class and she's furiously drawing away, so intense. And the art teacher comes and says, honey, what are you drawing? She says, I'm drawing God. Oh, sweetheart, no one knows what God actually looks like. I don't know what you think you're doing. And she says, without skipping a beat, they will in a moment. It's good to laugh in these troubled times. It's important to laugh. We need it. It relieves the tension and helps us cope. We all feel the weight of national and world crises. Everywhere we turn. Political divisions and violence perpetrated in the name of, I know the truth, God is only on my side. We face economic uncertainties, climate catastrophes that are occurring not once every 50 years, but every couple years. There is a horrific war in Ukraine that trudges on. It's probably going to go on at least another year, or who knows. There is rising extremism, increased anti-Semitism, hatreds unleashed upon immigrants, LGBT folks, like the horrific attack in Colorado Springs. 5 people were killed and so many injured. People of color face increased prejudices in this country, which is built on racism. There is nothing we can take for granted anymore, including our fragile democracy. And yet, in the Jewish tradition, and I think in the Christian tradition as well, in the tradition of giving sermons, we are taught 2 things. Number 1, you must tell the truth. But number 2, you have to add some comfort. You have to tell the truth, but there has to be comfort. And there's a word that we have in actually Aramaic, a nechemta. It comes from the word nechama, which means comfort. So a word of comfort, even if it seems difficult to find. So what is the nechemta? What is the comfort when we face this world so out of balance? There's a wonderful children's book which is kind of in the spirit of Winnie the Pooh, with drawings and animals who have characters, and they chat about life and the big picture of life. And it's called Big Panda and Tiny Dragon. It's a spiritual journey filled with short vignettes. At the end of the book, Big Panda asks Tiny Dragon, so what is more important? Is it the journey or the destination? Journey or the destination? Tiny Dragon responds, it is neither. It is not the journey or the destination. It's the company. It's the company along the way. That is the comfort of these times. We have woken up to the fact of how much we need one another, all the more. In our little community of Florham Park and a little bit beyond, we have created this interfaith community that is a comfort in these times. In one of our planning meetings, Reverend Ron said something that deeply touched me. You remember 2 weeks ago when there were, or 3 weeks I think now, there was an FBI warning of a credible threat against synagogues in New Jersey. Fortunately, the unhinged person was apprehended, and Jewish communities in the state breathed a collective sigh of relief. But we still do not rest easy, knowing that anti-Semitism incidents and sentiments have reached alarming numbers in the last few years. Ron, you said to me how important it is for you and your parishioners and other Christians to come to the synagogue, all the more important now to show their solidarity. I cannot tell you how comforting it is to have you, Father Thomas, and Reverend Ron, and Reverend Bo in spirit tonight, and your flock of parishioners, knowing that we do not stand alone, that we Jews do not stand alone in this age of uncertainty we are living through. So to all of you, our deepest gratitude for the company you are giving us right now, for the solidarity and the fellowship. If we turn to our scriptures, they are filled with an abundance of quotations about thanksgiving and gratitude. In fact, we just celebrated our holiday, Jewish holiday of Thanksgiving called Sukkot, where we build booths outside our homes, and we offer prayers for thanking God for the harvest. Some of you have heard these prayers of thanksgiving in our service tonight from Psalms and other sources. But as I reflected on this service and where we are in this country at this time, the sentence that called to me comes from another source, from the early Genesis stories. It actually emerges out of violence. It is the Cain and Abel story. I spoke about it kind of humoristically before, but it is a stark reminder of how envy and misunderstanding can lead to violence. In our Hebrew Bible, God says to Cain, "E hevel achicha," where is your brother Abel? And what does Cain respond? I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? Hashomer achi anochi? It is a chilling moment. Am I my brother's keeper? Because the statement is in the question form, the interrogative. Who am I? I have no remorse for this. I take no responsibility. I can do as I will. And fast forward 4,000 years ago in history to today, 2022. A world rife with violence, a world where people are dehumanized and scapegoated, a world filled with the very questions about the future of humanity. And the hope comes from turning that ancient biblical question from Cain into an affirmation. Am I my brother's keeper? Becomes, yes, I am my brother's and my sister's keeper. We are more than ourselves and our little nuclear families. Our connection to the larger web of life, it matters. In this world which just reached 8 billion people. And as the journalist Thomas Friedman reminds us in his groundbreaking book, the world is flat. It is flatter than ever before. What happens in the rainforests of the Amazon affects us in Florham Park. What happens in the war in Ukraine affects the food supply of the planet. What happens in Nigeria, what happens in Antarctica, Japan, all over the world, it affects all of us. We no longer have the luxury of thinking of the big pond of the Atlantic Ocean and we can hide in our little corners of the world. Every single act affects every single person. It's not a hyperbole anymore. Everything matters. So here we are today on this Thanksgiving Day with so much to be grateful for. We are the lucky ones in the world. We are the lucky ones. And the lucky and the fortunate have the responsibility to be aware all the more and to help all the more. So I thank you once again for being here to celebrate on this festival of thanks, this festival of harvest, this festival of sharing the company and the solidarity one to another. May God bless all of us, and my thanks for sharing this holiday with us. May you all be blessed. And we say, Amen. We are going to turn now to a Thanksgiving hymn with a melody that is very familiar. Randy, can you play the melody to Ode to Joy? You know this. Okay, we're going to all sing it together. Please rise, choir. Everyone, you can remain seated.
Gratitude is never something that is commanded. It is something that we are invited to do. It is a way of connecting to our hearts and lives in such a way that we recognize that we are grateful. And one of the ways that that gratitude becomes expressed is in our giving and our caring, especially for the poor. Throughout the biblical narrative and story, God calls us to pay attention to the poor and to express our gratitude to God and our love for our neighbor by way of giving to the poor. And this night we give to Nourish, New Jersey. It used to be the Morristown Soup Kitchen. And Soup Kitchen sort of carries a flavor, as it were, of the 1930s and the times when things were really, really difficult and there was a long line and there was a soup being made and people were being fed in a difficult period of time. And when they changed their name from the Soup Kitchen to Nourish, New Jersey, I think they got more to the heart of what goes on when we care for the poor. And they do it by way of food, addressing the whole matter of food insecurity. They do it by way of housing, providing shelter. They do it by way of providing education that can enable people to find dignity in their work and in their jobs. And they are indeed nourishing New Jersey that way, not just feeding them, but nourishing their hearts and their lives. And I think that's a deeply, deeply rooted biblical understanding of what it means for us to say, I am. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. Donovan is going to give you a little bit of a background in terms of the organization, and then invite you to give.
So I was in touch with Nancy Rogers, who is the Director of Development at Nourish New Jersey. Unfortunately, the people who are spokespeople for the organization couldn't make it tonight. They so wanted to be here. But I asked them, could you write something about your organization and what they do? And on your behalf, I'm happy to read it. So I'm going to share some of those words before we open up the collection. Good evening, friends. Nourish New Jersey has spent 38 years working to create lasting solutions to the problems of hunger, homelessness, and poverty in Morris County. We offer a variety of customized relief services and programs designed to help guests access resources to live happy, healthy, and comfortable lives. The services are offered 365 days a year in a warm, safe, and caring environment, free of charge, no questions asked. In addition to providing fresh and healthy meals every day, they provide housing, medical, employment assistance, as well as individualized case management services. In addition to preparing and distributing 300 individual meals each day, Nourish New Jersey offers a valuable source of healthy food through our free farmers market. It provides free fresh fruit, vegetables, frozen meat, and dairy 5 times a week, 12 months of the year, to 500 households comprising 2,000 people. The purpose of the program is twofold: to support community health with access to fresh and healthy food for low-income families in Morris County, provide an outreach opportunity for our social work staff to meet and engage with vulnerable and at-risk families. Food is the starting point of Nourish New Jersey's engagement with guests. From there, they determine what other services are needed, and they connect them with mental health, medical, employment, and other health case management workers. It is a nonprofit organization run entirely without government funding, relying instead on donations from individuals, businesses, and private foundations. We know that the need for our services is increasing, and we need your help to sustain them. On behalf of the staff and guests, we thank you for supporting our mission. Your generosity allows Nourish New Jersey to provide our community dealing with food insecurity and poverty with the resources they need this holiday season and beyond. Much gratitude and appreciation from Nourish. So as the choir is going to be singing Circle Round for Freedom, we're going to pass this collection basket around. President Sue Dentholz has agreed. I'm told that if you wanted to write a check, write it to Congregation Beth Torah, and we will make sure that the funds are given directly to Nourish New Jersey. salvation and blessing.
May Thanksgiving be more than a special day. May it be for us a way of life.
We have been enriched in every way by great generosity. Praise and thanksgiving be to our God.
Appreciate anew the good earth that is our inheritance from a loving God.
We celebrate again God's goodness to our ancestors and God's continuing provision for us.
The God who has answered our prayers, ask our help in answering the prayers of others.
We will not forget the source of our good life and will share our abundance with others.
Praise to be God, who has guided our ancestors and who is found in our hearts.
Let us begin to heal our troubled world with one kind act, one good deed, reaching out to our good neighbors. God grant us the strength and vision to bring the world to a place of wholeness, shalom, and peace. Amen.
We can give thanks to Jonathan because he worked so hard to prepare everything with his community. We can applaud him. And all of us that we are gathered together and he's joining to share.
Thank you. And a special thanks to everyone in our community who made this beautiful space a sanctuary once again, and all the people who contributed delicious treats that we will partake of shortly. So thank you so much. If anyone wanted to, who didn't have an opportunity to add to the collection, we're going to have the basket right here. And I invite you to give generously. So our service is concluded with an American hymn, America the Beautiful. After we sing America the Beautiful, I invite you all to join us at our, in Hebrew, we call this an oneg. It's I know in common parlance in our interfaith world, we say a fellowship, which is a beautiful word. Another beautiful word is oneg, which literally means joy. So we invite you to fellowship and to joy as we greet one another as part of a small but loving community, and say hello to each other, have a little nosh, have a little bite to eat, and send us all into this week of Thanksgiving holiday. Please rise for our final hymn, America the Beautiful. Don't be shy. There's lots of good food.